All right, guys, so thanks for tuning in. I'm gonna break this video up into two different parts so it's not so long. I think each segment will be about 10 minutes long. The first segment will cover the females, starting with the females first. Hopefully I got something that will make sense, and that's all. The only thing that I'm trying to do is bring you content that'll make sense, whether you're an entry-level reptile keeper or maybe you got a little bit more experience. I just want to make sure that everybody has some information. Now, I definitely don't believe that my information is the best information. It's my opinion based on my research and the things that we're finding along the way. So to let you know a little bit about Spheric Reptiles, we started this business at the beginning of the year. We waited till the very first of the year, around the 4th, I believe, and we formed our LLC. That's whether we can produce either one snake or 1,000 snakes over the period of time. But we figured that by journaling this and, as we get new animals and stuff like that, we just share it with you so that you can see the whole process of how we started out with utility shelves, as we got right here, to now we got a hatchling rack. In December, around the middle of December, we're going to get an incubator and, just what are we doing? Like, what have we learned? That kind of stuff. And one of the key things that we've learned is that we got information in the beginning, as you saw from the thumbnail, that said you should start with females first. So start with females first. And so now my opinion of that is a little bit different, but this is, of course, my opinion. It's like opinions are like assholes. Everybody got one. So if you start out with a female, you can do one or two things. But, if we look at the ball python market overall, this is why I think I came up with this video, because as I go to shows and I look on Morph Market, which I tend to do more frequently, looking on Morph Market every day and going to just about every reptile show that I can that's in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. I even go to some outside of Dallas. But anyway, you don't care about that. We're in a post-COVID recession time, right? So during COVID, when everybody was at home getting fat checks from the government, some people even quit their jobs. People just buying up all these things because they were at home. And so if you look at internet sales, all that stuff went up. Remember, they were giving away cars in 2021 for 0% interest for like 36 months. It was really, really ridiculous. But now you got to pay the cost for all of that. So now what we see is all luxury items, not just ball pythons. So a luxury item to me is defined as something that's a non-essential thing. So it's not food, gas, shelter, clothing, water. It's none of those things. Take care of your family. It's those luxury items. So if you wanted a new car, even though your current car isn't running well, then you're not going to be able to get it. Well, the one thing about cars is that they don't have to lower the price of them. Whereas with ball pythons, we don't have to lower the price of those either. But because people still have this inventory and they're breeding rats and they're buying food, they want to get something for their efforts. And I can't blame them because, it's like I look at the tennis shoe market. So if you got a pair of Jordans and they're $185, well, does it really matter if you sell them for $120? It really doesn't, as long as you're still selling Jordans. So that's how I look at the snake game. And I know I hate to throw that tennis shoe game in there, but tennis shoes are a luxury item too once you get past the $75 ones. Wow, $75 for a pair of tennis shoes? Are you kidding me? But anyway, yeah, prices have definitely went up in that area. But so it's about supply and demand, which in this case, there's a high amount of ball pythons. And even though the demand is there, the demand to pay that price is not. So what has happened is that supply, the people with the ball pythons are tending to the pet reptile owner now, because even though breeders are buying them, they got less money to spend. Remember, a lot of this COVID boom was from people sitting at home getting checks. Now they're not. People are actually paying their bills. They're not getting kicked out of anywhere, which you should do anyway. But that's why those prices have probably dropped. And I've tried to look at it from a lot of different ways, but the number one purchaser of high-end reptiles are breeders. So if breeders have less money to spend and they're getting payment plans instead of paying cash, then that's what happens. So that's why we got into the market after COVID. So the one thing that we looked at was, hey, this shit's got to come back down. It's not going to stay all the way up because people just don't have the money. And eventually the feds are going to put an interest hike on us, which they did to a degree, and then they take it back. But either way, we see it. We see inflation. So anyway, let me get to it. So the current mode of thinking for breeding, because that's why you're watching this video, is to start with the females first. Well, does that really help you to start out with a hatchling female that's about 70 to 120 grams and then try to get her up to 1,500 grams? Man, I'm telling you, that's going to take you at least 2 years, possibly 3. And I got some examples to show you just to prove that. But so say you start with 10 hatchling females and you just grow them up, and then around, I'm gonna say 800, 900 grams, you buy your male. Because you don't want to buy your male right when you get the female, but then you buy your powerhouse male. That's still going to take you at least 2 to 2.5 years to get them up to sexual maturity, in which that's 2 to 2.5 years that you're further behind on your plan. Now it's your plan. Now you have to foresee or look in the future so that you can see what product that you want to make, what cool and new and exciting ball pythons you want to make. But you know, I'm just going to show you. Here it is, guys. All right, guys, so just getting right into it. I'm showing you, so if you were to start with the females first, you would end up with an animal of this size in about 1 year. This is a bamboo inchy calico. Let me see if I can get her to move. She just recently had a meal, so she might not be too much into any of this, but I'll just zoom in on her and tell you a little bit about her, something about her so you can know about how big they get within 1 year. And we don't power feed our animals. We try to feed them every week. But this bamboo inchy calico was born September of 2022. We purchased her in October of that same year at 123 grams. And so she was a hatchling, 123 grams. And what we have right now, November 2023, she's at 826 grams. So, so we got another year at least with her, and that's if she doesn't go off food. She's went on a hunger strike one time for about 2 weeks, but so we got another year to wait on her. So that's a 2-year plan. And so, all right, guys, I'm gonna switch right over and show you another animal. All right, guys, here's another example of the 2-year plan. And this is a pastel calico or pastel sugar, whichever one you want to call her. But you can see just how pretty she is. And you can see the sugaring on the sides of her. And she was born May of 2022. We purchased her October of 2022 at 208 grams. And right now in November 2023, she's sitting at she's sitting at 1,108 grams. So, I got this pad to the side of me. I'm trying to record and film at the same time. That don't work. But this is still, so the same thing goes with her. We got at least another year around the same time next year when she can be paired around October of 2024. So even though she's a gorgeous animal, she has 2 incomplete dominants with the pastel and the calico. Before we can put her to anything else, she still has to get up to weight. And so this is one of the things that I say that you need to be aware of when you're planning to breed animals so that you can, still stay enthusiastic about the breeding process, not about the keeping of the animals. But before we stop, I'm going to show you one more just so you can get a really clear picture of what I'm talking about. Okay, guys, so this is the last example of what I'm talking about when it comes to getting your females first, all right? And so, of course, everybody can do whatever they want to do, and this is just my opinion, but this is Shakira, our sulfur pinstripe head clown, and, just in true fashion, they're all really shy once they've eaten. Let me see if I can get her to put her head up. That ain't working out so well now, is it? Come on, girl. All right. So just get on camera for a little bit for me. Then I'll let you go. So Shakira was born in April of 2022. We purchased her February of 2023, and she was at 543 grams. And so this is the reason why I say get the subadults first, because when we purchased her, she was 543 grams. Right now in November 2023, she's only 922 grams. Now, this isn't because we don't feed her. So when we got her, it took a while for her to get acclimated, and she just did not want to eat regularly for about 2.5 months. Now she's eating regularly, so now she's picking up weight, but at 922 grams, imagine if she were a hatchling. She was born in April of 2022, so technically she should be almost there around 1,100 grams to 1,200 grams if she would have just followed a current, a steady feeding plan, but she didn't. So as with any ball python, when they go through these growth phases, or you buy them from one place and you bring them to yours, they're acclimating. You don't know what that acclimation process will look like. So I say that if you get them as hatchlings, you got to be a little bit, like I said, you got to be a little bit more patient as to when you'll be able to purchase your males. If that's your limiting factor, is I'm going to grow these females up and then I'll purchase my males. But hey guys, let me jump into a segue real quick and I'll get right back to you. So now that you've seen those, now, and of course I put the breeders that we got them from, because I always want to shout out the breeders that we got the animals from, because all of our animals are healthy. They just don't all grow at the same rate. Some of them are greedy, and they have that big snake gene in them. For ball python, it's kind of crazy, right? For you Burmese and retic and anaconda people, and even boa people. But for ball pythons, you can have a snake that can grow, from 100 grams up to 1,000 grams in 1 year. And then you could also have that snake that is reluctant, and you get it at 120 grams or even 300 grams. And at the end of a year, it's only at around like 500 grams. I mean, it fucking happens, man.